Good morning. Today I'm just going to do a quick video on how to solve multiple step equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign. Now, it's important to remember our final goal is just to get variables on the left and our constants or our normal numbers on the right. Now, the direction doesn't matter. It's okay if our variables are on the right and constants on the left. We just want them separate. So to start off, looking at number one, I always draw a line down my equal sign just so I don't get my sides mixed up. And I have to remember whatever change I make on one side, I also have to make to the other. Now, we want all of our variables on the left, so let's start with that. I see this variable on the left, so I'm going to keep them there. But this variable is on the right. I don't want him there. So we're going to move him. We have to get rid of him on the right side. And to get rid of him, we want to do the opposite operation of what's happening. Well, this is a positive 3x, so let's do a negative 3x. But if I make this change on the right, it's not equal anymore unless I also make the change on the left. Now, since my 5 has the x stuck to him, that's where I'm going to take the 3x from. Now when I look at this, I see 5x minus 3x. That simplifies to 2x. And then I'm going to bring down my minus 2. Looking at the right, 3x minus 3x cancels. And now I just bring down my 4. So that was step one. Now I want all of my constants, all of my normal numbers on the right. Well, this is a constant, it's a normal number, -2, but it's on the side that I don't want them. So to move a -2, I have to ask myself what's the opposite of -2? +2. Oh, wrong side. +2. Well, if I make that change on the left, I also have to make the same change on the right. Now, I'm going to bring down my 2x, and I notice -2 plus 2 cancels. And then on the right-hand side, 4 plus 2 is 6. Now, I'm not done quite yet because I still have a leading coefficient here, and I just want the variable by itself. Well, since they're stuck together, that implies multiplication is happening. So to undo the multiplication, I need to divide. Going to divide by 2 because that's the number I'm trying to get rid of, and 2 divided by 2 reduces to 1x. And on the right side, I have 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Now that x is by itself, we are done. And we are going to follow the same steps for number 2. So, going to draw my line. I just have to remind myself of my goal, which is to get my variables on the left, constants on the right. I'm going to start with moving my variables to the left-hand side. Looking on the right, I see I have a 1x here. I don't want him here. I want to move him over. To do that, I have to take +1 and do the opposite, -1x. But now that I've made a change on the right side of the equal sign, I'm going to perform that same change on the left. Now, 6x minus 1x turns into a 5x. We're just going to bring it down. Now we can bring down our +8. And on the right side, I see 1x minus 1x cancels. So I'm just going to bring down my -12. So now that I've performed that change, I don't have to look up here anymore. This is my new problem. This is my new focus. So now that all of my variables are on the left, I want to move all my constants to the right. I see my constant, my normal number, +8, and I need to do the opposite of +8, which is -8, but I need to perform that change on the same side. Now I'm going to bring down my 5x. 8 minus 8 is 0, and now I have -12 minus 8. It's going to give you -20. Now we're not done quite yet, because I still have a number stuck to my x. Well, since they're stuck, they're being multiplied, so I will divide, which is the opposite of multiplication, and I'm going to divide by 5, because that's the number I'm trying to get rid of. Doing so, I get 1x equals And negative 20 divided by 5 is negative 4. Now that x is by itself, we are done with this problem. I'm going to do that same step for number 3. Drawing my line. I want x's on the left, variables on the left, and constants on the right. I notice right away that my variable that needs to be moved is my 2x. Doing the opposite, I subtract 2x from both sides. 4x take away 2x will give me 2x, and then I'm going to bring down the 3. 2x minus 2x cancels, and now I bring down my 15. Now I want to move my constants to the right. My constant is 3. I'm going to do minus 3 since that's the opposite of plus 3. And doing so allows me to move all of my constants from the left, so I only have 2x on the left now. And 15 take away 3 is 12. We are almost done. Our last step would be to divide both sides of the equality by 2, which allows us x by itself on the left, and when we do 12 divided by 2, we get 6. That is our answer. Now let's look at options 4 and 5. These are a little bit different. These have parentheses, which means we are going to have to perform extra steps, but our goal is still the same. We have to remember that when we see parentheses, it means we have to multiply, we have to distribute. So I'm going to focus on the left side for now. I notice that the number stuck to these parentheses is 2. So I'm going to take 2 and multiply, or multiplying, to 10. Well, 2 times 10 is 20, so I'm going to bring that down. But I'm not done until I multiply each of the terms inside the parentheses. We also have to be careful with whatever signs are inside as well. So 2 times negative 2x is negative 4x. Well, now that the parentheses are closed off, I am done distributing the left-hand side. Now I'm going to perform that same property to the right-hand side. I see parentheses, which means I need to multiply the number that's stuck to the parentheses to each term inside. So taking 4, we are going to multiply by 2x. 4 times 2x is 8x. Now we'll do the same thing with the other term. 4 times positive 2 is positive 8. Now you'll notice that the parentheses are gone. This now looks a lot like the problems we did earlier. And that's what happens a lot of times in math. Once you do one step, it just gets simpler and simpler. So remembering we want variables on the left, I'm going to move the variable that's on the right by performing the opposite operation to both sides. Doing so, I bring down my 20, and then I ask what's negative 4x minus 8? That is negative 12x. On the right-hand side, 8x minus 8x cancels, and now I bring down my positive 8. Next, we want all of our constants on the right, which means I want to move my 20 from the left to the right-hand side. Doing so, 20 minus 20 cancels. I bring down my negative 12x, and then 8 take away 20 is going to give you negative 12. Now we're almost done. Our last step in this case would be to divide each side by the number stuck to x, which is negative 12. Doing so, we get x equals positive 1. Let's do number 5. 5 is slightly different from number 4 even, because when I look at my parentheses, I notice that there is a number stuck to it. It's negative 2. But there's this extra number out here. Well, since he's not stuck to the parentheses, I'm simply going to bring him down. We're not going to do anything with him yet. But I am going to take the negative 2 and distribute. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And negative 2 times negative x, well, that's negative 1x, is going to give us positive 2x. Now I'm going to bring down everything on the right-hand side because I can't really do anything over here yet. I didn't need to distribute, but I'm bringing everything down so that nothing gets lost. Now that we've performed that step, we are going to ignore everything up here. This is our new problem. This is our focus. Now, normally, if we keep going the way we've been going, we would move all of our variables to the left. But I'm noticing something about the left-hand side. I have two like terms. There are two numbers I can combine. Those numbers are 5 and negative 6. The reason I can combine these is because they're both constants. They're both normal numbers. So let's take 5 minus 6 and simplify it. Well, 5 take away 6 is negative 1. Now I'm just going to bring everything else down. So now, this is my focus. Well, now this looks like these problems up above, so I'm just going to solve it the way we have been doing so. I want all of my variables on the left, so I'm going to move 4x by doing negative 4x on both sides. Bringing down all of my untouched numbers, 2x take away 4x is negative 2x. 4x minus 4x cancels, and I'm going to bring down my positive 10. Well, now I need to move all of my constants to the right. Constants to the right. Well, I have a negative 1. That's a constant. So to move it to the other side, I do the opposite. Negative 1 plus 1 cancels. I bring down negative 2x. And then 10 plus 1 is 11. I'm almost done. My last step in this case is to divide by the number stuck to my x. Dividing by negative 2 on both sides, I am left with x equals negative 11 over 2. Now that x is by itself, I am done. Even though we got a fraction, that's okay. They're not bad. Sometimes that's just what your answer looks like, and you didn't do anything wrong just because it doesn't look like the others.